Hello, welcome to my series about all Chopin's music. Today we focus on Etude in C major, Opus 10, number 7. A very short but very demanding and difficult etude exercise. After Etude in E flat minor, Opus 10, number 6, very painful, full of sorrow, dramatic, and sincere, Chopin decides to change the mood and go back to the first key of C major that he started the whole opus from. So it's like a middle. We had the first 6 and the second 6 will start again from C major. Isn't it interesting? Well, we don't know why he decided like this, but there probably must have been some reason. What is interesting is that when we look at the beginning of the etudes, they are grouped a little like preludes, with major, minor, major, minor, major, minor, and this major and minors are connected. They are like sisters or brothers. I think I explained to you in preludes, if you are not a musician, that every major scale has a minor sister, which is just 2 notes below always. And in this etude, this first 6 etudes, we have exactly that. We have C major, then A minor, which is the minor sister of C major. Then we have E major and C sharp minor, which is a minor sister of E major. And then we have G flat major and E flat minor, which is the minor sister of G flat major. Well, I know if you're not a musician now, you probably are about to turn off this video. You are listening and you don't know what I'm talking about. D flat major, E flat minor, blah blah blah. You don't know. Don't worry, it's enough. It's the end. I'm not going to continue this topic. This is just for curiosity, just for telling you that there was some kind of order in Chopin's mind, which has a sense, but now it's broken because we go back to the first key. So Chopin is repeating the same tonality. But of course, this etude is very different from etude number 1. Chopin continues his own way of being a pedagogue, being a professor, of improving young pianists' technique. This is part A of this etude. Very light, very sweet, very bright, very fast, and very difficult. But what exactly is the difficulty? What is the problem? What problem are we bound to solve in this etude? Again, of course, knowing Chopin, we know that this will be more than only one problem. There is a kind of technique in piano playing that we call a repetition. Fast repetition. Fast repeating the same key. We can do it with one finger. But when we do it with one finger, we have the limit, the limit of the tempo, because we are using the wrist, and there are pianists who can do it very fast. They are, but still, when we, and this was discovered by some pianists back many hundreds years ago, that if we use more than one finger, but we use 2 and we will change them, we can do it faster. If we use 3 of them, we can do it even faster. But of course, everything depends on the mechanic of the piano. When the piano was invented, it didn't have this special kind of mechanism that made it easier to repeat very fast the same key. double repetition, I think it's called. And later it was invented, it was much easier to do, so composers were using it more often. But definitely it is difficult, it is something new, and we didn't have it in the previous etudes from this opus, so that's a new thing. But before Chopin, of course, there were studies and exercises for the repetition, but usually they were focusing only on the repetition. So we had even Domenico Scarlatti for harpsichord wrote a sonata for the repetition. When we have the repeated notes. Very famous piece of music. And many pieces like this. And so on. But we focus on the repetition, so we hear the repetition. Here, Chopin, of course, like Chopin, decided that he wants to be different a little. So, what he's doing, now I show you. He is using the repetition in the lower voice with these two fingers. Now I will play for you only the lower voice, because in the right hand we have two voices, two different voices. The first, the voice which is at the bottom, is throughout all the etude is using repetition, like this. So sorry, because I was looking at the camera. We are repeating 2 times each key. And this is the way how we practice it. We first have to practice this voice. Make it faster, make it light, so that we can play it very fast. Then we can focus on the voice that we actually hear when we listen to this etude. The upper voice. The upper voice has something like this. Sorry. So this is what we hear. It's more like a melody. We actually, when we listen to the etude, we hear something like this. And so on and so on. How does it sound and look when we play it together? So it's a little like a perpetuum mobile, like moto perpetuo, you know, the machine that is all the time going. We always, in this etude, when we start, we hear all the time repeating notes, like in a toccata. Sometimes pianists and musicologists, they call this etude a toccata. I don't like this title because for me it sounds too mechanic. I think there is a lot of music also in this piece, a lot of phrasing and melodies which we have to shape. So when we think about toccata, we immediately come and play, you know, very mechanically toccata. Because that's the idea of the toccata, you know. Prokofiev. Well, of course, Chopin didn't know Prokofiev. It is a completely different time, but this is what we think about when we think toccata. Well, Bach's toccatas are a little different. They are more improvisatory, so Chopin probably knew them more from this. But Also, we don't have a lot of this repeating notes, so this is absolutely not an inspiration for Chopin at all. I don't think Chopin thought about this as a toccata. But that's not that important in this analysis. So the analysis of difficulty, as I showed you now, fast repetition and another voice. We play it together in one hand, so we have to cut this hand in half. And what I recommend when we practice this, of course, I recommend to cut the hand, not with knife, mentally, and practicing only right part. And also only left. It takes 1 month, or I don't know, it takes quite a lot of time to make it in tempo, to learn it by heart, you know, to play, and then we can put it together with one hand, and after that we can add the left hand, which also has a music, well, it has a lot of music throughout the piece. We are going to analyze it just now, but afterwards we have to also make this etude sounds light and easy, and that's also another challenge, right? So let's make the analysis. I played for you already part A, which is constructed in a very traditional way when Chopin is using musical periods. So we have the first phrase, antecedent phrase, then we have the consequent phrase, which starts from exactly the same motif, and then everything is repeated 1 octave higher. So 2 times the same musical period. Let's listen to this musical period now. I don't want to cut my head, so okay, better. The first phrase. The consequent phrase. And everything is repeated. And we arrived to this part. And now Chopin, he's playing, you know, he was composing this. He arrived here and then he thought, oh, it's like bells. You know, now we have Christmas, so it's really... Also, of course, as you know, Franz Liszt was using this a lot. Anyway, these are bells, you know. But here we have repetitions, okay. And these bells, Chopin decides to use these bells as the accompaniment at the beginning of part B, because now we arrived to part B. Part B has 3 short parts. There is quite a lot in this etude. Even if it's only 1.5 minutes long, there is a lot of details. Part B starts with bells, and this is an accompaniment for the left hand, and the left hand is dancing. We have a dancing left hand, listen. And suddenly some drama. A little drama. After this dancing, somebody interrupts the dance, and we have the first climax, let's say, of this etude. So the second part is a little dramatic. Let's listen this together. Bells playing delicato, as Chopin writes, and left hand dancing. Excuse me, 1 second. And here we have the drama. Let me play it one more time. Sorry. we arrived to the dramatic part, and right hand is playing alone. And then suddenly left hand is singing for the first time in this etude. And this singing is the last part of part B. Let's listen to this singing first. And we arrive to part A again. Now I play for you the whole part B, a little slower, I hope without any problems, so that we can enjoy this music. Part A starts. The first phrase is the same. The second phrase, consequent phrase, starts the same, but then immediately we will have the effect like we are losing the breath. Chopin is cutting a bar, so we are until we reach the top, and suddenly everything fades away. And we are in a total silence, bells again, and the coda starts. So, recapitulation, part A, until the coda. This is the coda. Have you heard this losing breath here? It's fantastic. Chopin created a kind of tension, and then he released the tension. And the coda starts it's such an innocent way. Like Christmas, again. Actually, today is 24th of December. I'm recording it now. So it's very Christmas mood, exactly. So it's nice. And then suddenly this Christmas time is brutally interrupted by the most difficult passage of the whole etude. Look at this. We have very uncomfortable black and white keys all the time, with the repetition of course, and just look how the right hand has to suffer. Let's say suffer. Okay. This was slow tempo, right? But now it's fast. But of course, for this etude, we need to have a very supple wrist. Very supple wrist and very fast fingers and good repetition. But when we can play it, our technique really improves a lot. So this is a very dramatic, well, not dramatic, but very full of tension part. After which, with Chopin fantastically builds the energy until the end, because the end is just exploding with a very nice, unregular accents. Just listen. the whole etude ends as if it was a 10 minutes virtuoso music, but it was only 1.5 minutes. But anyway, this piece is fantastic. That's all. It's very short. I don't think I have to add anything. I can only invite you to now to watch together with me my performance of this etude from Chopin competition back in 2015, the preliminary round, when I played, well, I had to play 3 etudes then, but one of them was this one. So please enjoy, and thank you very much, and see you again. Bye bye.